asset? Which one's the best crypto asset? Bitcoin is the best crypto asset. Which one's the best? 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 What's the second best?
This is Discover Crypto, and every day on this channel, we teach you how to make money with digital assets. I'm your host, DZ, so please smash that like button because we got a very special show today. We're going to talk about the latest move by JPMorgan that is going to be the next stage for this Bitcoin rally. And I'm going to tell you what altcoins I am actively buying, and I'll tell you why. We'll go to the charts, and we have a very special founder from the Cardano ecosystem. He knows Charles. It's not Charles, and it's not Nike the pig, of course. Maybe it's his helicopter pilot. We're going to bring him on a little bit later and talk about ADA, just the ecosystem in general. We got major XRP price predictions and Solana price predictions. So if you're in these altcoins, you want to stick around for that. And just, folks, it's just a very special DZ episode today. I appreciate everyone jumping in. The Disco fam is in the chat. They're very active here, and they're calling me Agent DZ now. I don't know if I like Agent DZ. DZ Wick. That's not a bad crypto name for a trader slash hitman. I do love my dog, and I will come after you, especially if you're Russian mobsters. But let's get into the stories here. Let's get into the charts. Let's talk about where Bitcoin is heading, because Bitcoin on the 5-minute chart took a little bit of a dump just a little bit ago, about an hour ago, after pumping essentially all morning. Sometime after midnight, we had shortly before midnight. This is going to be around 10 p.m. Huge wick to the downside. This is 1 a.m. right here, and then Bitcoin just kind of on a tear, pumping. Then you can see losing steam towards the top end. We started to get a little bit of a rounded beginning here. Let me find my brush. You can just see it going from a straight line, rounding to the downside. So the bulls are just, maybe taking some profits, letting the bears regain control for a little bit here. But the altcoins, they're not doing as well as Bitcoin is. Let's hit refresh here. I saw a lot of altcoins in the red today. Bitcoin now slightly in the red after the pullback we've seen this past hour, but ETH is now down 4%. We have BNB down 2.3%. We have Dogecoin peeled off 5%. Cardano has peeled off 6%, and even Hype, very, very strong project, that token is down 7%. So we're seeing a lot of the altcoins cool down and let Bitcoin dominance reign supreme here. I am the one. Which Men in Black would I be? I'm the guy that failed the test next to Will Smith. I was like, bro, why are you moving the table? I just made do. I knew I was in a curved seat. I rode on my knee like a man. I didn't have to move the table, Will. Then he slapped me afterwards. Let's see. DZ Sharp, but not as simple like Shannon Sharp. All right, let's look at back to crypto here. We got a lot of altcoins in the green, and XRP ecosystem token Flare is leading the charge. Also, we got Pengu is just kind of crushing it right now. Quant up, Pi is up. We're seeing a lot of interesting tokens, except for Solana. You got Solana bucking the trend. ETH is down, Cardano's down, everything's down, but Solana is getting the bulls. They're back in control. But if I had to just say, maybe guesstimate why this token is pumping while the other ones weren't, when Cardano was up double digits, XRP was up double digits, Solana was largely flat. And now Solana may be catching up with some of its peers there. Now, let's look at the big losers. Pump.fun. Josh put out a video detailing there's going to be a lot of sales, a lot of profit taken, and told you his entry. So if you want to go to our videos here, everybody hates this altcoin, potential hidden gem. So he tells you the entry point. And I'm going to talk about maybe some V-chain charts a little bit later. And if you didn't watch last night's video, I'll tell you exactly when you should be looking to take some profits on Bitcoin. We look at every single breakout. We average out the pump. We average out the amount of time of days it takes, and then we look at the current pump and the current amount of time and give you a little bit of an exit strategy there. All right, but Flare's down, Athena's down, Fetch is down. We've been out of that token for a long time, rolled into different Cardano projects. Uniswap is down, and Aave is down. Oh, man, my average entry point for Aave has just been so good. We were buying the dip. A lot of people were criticizing me for not buying Bitcoin during the flash crash. The tariff war crashes here. I said, I think I just see a little bit more opportunity. And so we bought Aave, Chainlink, Tesla, and Bitcoin during this dip. The best performer, has been Aave. So I don't know if I can pull the trigger and, jump back in after we got such a low average cost basis. I would wait for maybe some more severe pullbacks there. So that's what the crypto market's looking like here. But now let's talk about what we're seeing with Wall Street. Major news. Someone saying they took some Aave profit. I actually sold 9% of my portfolio. I had to get some cash on the sidelines, so I sold a little less than 10%. I was up. And Big Pay, we're going to be talking to Big Pay. He is a Cardano founder, very smart individual. We've had him on the show before. He has long, golden, flowing locks, and he has the deep voice of a 70s R&B soul singer. And so you're going to really like to hear what this guy has to say if you are a fan of Cardano. But I'm a fan of what Wall Street has been doing lately with Bitcoin here. Breaking news. This is breaking from this morning. $4 trillion Wall Street giant JPMorgan is offering Bitcoin-backed loans, according to the Financial Times. Now, we've talked about some of the other banks that have gone ahead and pulled the trigger here. So it looks like, now JPMorgan going against what their CEO, Jamie Dimon, said. And Jamie Dimon, probably, I don't want to say best known for, but infamously known for being Jeffrey Epstein's banker. That's a real thing there, folks. So, you can kind of come to your own conclusions with that one. But JPMorgan is exploring plans to offer loans backed by a client's cryptocurrency holdings, including Bitcoin and Ethereum, as early as next year. Now, this isn't going to count if any of the previous banks' flips have anything to do with this. This is what it'll look like. You can't go to your bank and show them a ledger with 100 Bitcoin and then go take out a loan on that big commercial building. This is going to have to be on regulated exchanges, similar to a Robinhood, a Gemini, a Coinbase. And when you have Bitcoin on your Coinbase account, then you're going to be able to use that for collateral for your loan. So this is just going to be more of a reason for rich investors to load up on Bitcoin and maybe get that 5 to 10% allocation that they all should get. Now, Jamie Dimon, longtime Bitcoin skeptic, recently said that his bank will also be involved in stablecoins. Now, JPMorgan, they were asked to comment to this at Fortune Times. They did not respond to this or Reuters' request for a comment outside regular business hours. But of course, Jamie Dimon, the CEO of this bank that is flipping 180 on Bitcoin, he said he's not a fan of the Bitcoin universe, citing concerns including leverage, misuse, and money laundering, ruling out getting into custody, aka storing Bitcoin for their clients, or expanding significantly even if regulations ease. Now, we're going to allow you to buy it, but we're not going to custody it, likening to the approach to permitting behavior he personally disagrees with. I don't know why they didn't just say the behavior that he personally disagreed with. He just said, I like that you have the right to smoke, but I don't want you smoking. And so that's the analogy that he threw out there. ETH blew through 3K. We got some ETH news. We're going to talk about ETH, of course. Major developments happening in the ETH ecosystem. We're going to talk about maybe some beta plays. Jamie Dimon likes, I'm not going to read the rest of that comment. You rapscallions, I see what you're trying to do. And Atrium Lab, also in the chat. Make sure you go follow their YouTube channel. And this isn't sponsoring anything. I like the guy. I like Big Pay. You see him at all the Cardano conferences. He's been building. He builds in the bull markets. He builds in the bear markets. And one of the better, if not the best, top 2 or 3 Cardano guests that we've ever had on Around the Blockchain. If you don't know what Around the Blockchain was, it was our previous show back in the day. Now, second major Bitcoin news, and then we're going to get into basically, we got to talk about these altcoins, folks. We got some major stuff. I'm gonna tell you, like I said, what I'm buying. But Elon Musk's SpaceX this morning moved 1,300 Bitcoin. Maybe that doesn't sound like all that much. That's $153 million. This wallet has not moved. This is breaking news. This hasn't moved Bitcoin in over 3 years. So what the heck is going on? This was 5 a.m. this morning, and as of that post, it was 27 minutes ago. So let's look. What the heck is going on here? And they did a test transaction. By the way, I wanted to say, no, it wasn't a test transaction. Coinbase took a little bit of a fee off that transaction there. All right, now let's get into what's actually happening. And then we're going to get an analysis. I'll tell you what I think is going to happen next. Are they selling? Are they diamond handing? Are they trying to offer some sort of Bitcoin Mars exchange? It's SpaceX, after all. We don't know. Maybe the robots are going to start paying each other and that. Well, I'll tell you what I think in a second here. So SpaceX wallet sprung to life with the $153 million transfer. They haven't moved Bitcoin since 2022. And this is the first on-chain activity in more than 3 years. 1,300 Bitcoin from the address tagged by Arkham as belonging to SpaceX to a previously inactive wallet. So they didn't move it to Coinbase Prime. They didn't move it to Elon's personal stash. They didn't move it to Eric Trump or Don Jr. They didn't move it any. So it was a previously inactive, a fresh wallet. Now, Arkham data is showing SpaceX still has a lot of Bitcoin. They still have about 7,000, worth about 815 million, making them still one of the largest corporate Bitcoin holders. So they have moved about 15% of their Bitcoin stash here. So why are they moving 15% of their stash? Now, last time they moved 3,500 Bitcoin to Coinbase. Now, it remains unclear whether this is a sell, internal treasury reallocation, or something else entirely. So I did a little bit of analysis. We grokked it here. I didn't go grok 4, I just did 3. And so what's your best analysis on what they plan to do? So we covered the details there. You know, they moved about 1,300. Last time they moved June 22. But here's where it gets interesting. Now, the transferred Bitcoin has not been moved further or sent to an exchange, suggesting it may be internal reorganization rather than a sale. Now, looked like Arkham did say those Coinbase Prime had a fee there, but you know, I think that's just because that's their custody. So don't make sure you don't get confused on that aspect. Now, many sources, including those on X, speculate this is UTXO consolidation or a move to a SegWit address for improved security or efficiency. And this is going to make it just essentially just more secure. Look at it that way. The old addresses, a little bit dicey, especially if they don't have SegWit capabilities. You could send it to an address that, you know, basically it'd be very difficult to extract there. Also, one last thing. This is something similar to. We're looking at a different Elon company. Tesla did the same thing 6 months, 9 months ago. They moved almost $1 billion worth of Bitcoin to a new wallet. When asked, what the heck are you doing? Are you selling? Are you selling? Tesla had to be a little bit more forthcoming because they are a regulated company with a stock. And so they have the SEC breathing down their necks and they have to file more forms. So we figured out a little bit more of what they were doing. They just called it a wallet rotation strategy, not a sell. And so no one knows for sure, but the DZ assessment here is most likely a scenario, and Grok agrees here, it is just a wallet reshuffle for security or efficiency. So you're probably going to, again, this is 5 a.m. this morning. For the next 24, 48 hours, you're going to see post after post, Elon selling, Elon selling. Hell, I'll probably make a short and I'll start it that way. But I don't think Elon's selling. Now, if we see him move to Binance or Michael Saylor's personal wallet, yeah, maybe it's an OTC deal. You know, maybe they're paying for the newest rocket ship. Maybe they're buying just some cold rolled steel. I don't know what they're doing. But until then, we're assuming it's just a wallet reshuffle. So there we go. Are you guys buying spot or opening 2, 3x longs? 2x, 3x. Oh, we're in some longs. We're in some longs. I threw out a little baby amount into a Doge long and a VeChain long. I'll explain why a little bit later. I don't want to, put the cart before the horse. Now we're 7 minutes away from talking to the Cardano founder, a founder within Cardano, not Charles Hoskinson, the Atrium founder, Big Pay. So stick around. I haven't done a 50x in a while. I want to say my win rate, was decent, but it needed to be a little. I panic sold on my win rate, so I would be up 20, 30%, and I would just panic sell. And 50xing Fartcoin, if you just kind of hold on to it, you could be at 500%, 600%, very, very easily with something like Fartcoin. I didn't have the testicular fortitude to stick through the 50x's, so I could ride it into Profit Town. I had the cold steel in my veins on the way down, but then I would just panic profit take, and you don't go broke taking profits there. So I'm not too upset about that. But let's talk about Bitcoin. So they just dropped from below $1 billion. Remember, it was a little bit over. Now it's like 800 million, something like that left there. And now the number reduces 60. I don't think Tesla or SpaceX counts, but 60 people worldwide have a $1 billion exposure to Bitcoin. Donald Trump is one of those people. So maybe, long-term Bitcoin can go a lot higher than you think here. But we do have a canary in the coal mine. Wall Street, what the heck is Wall Street doing? Well, Wall Street broke their streak. It was a 12-day inflow. Wall Street was buying more Bitcoin than they were selling Monday through Friday for 2.5 weeks. But the streak just ended. They just had a net outflow. Wall Street sold 131 net Bitcoin, or 131 million net Bitcoin here, marking the end of the 12-day streak that pulled in 6.6 billion. So in 12 days, we pulled in 6 billion. And on the 13th day, a little blip of 131 million. So not a whole lot. But the canary in the coal mine I always talk about. Don't worry about what Van Eck's doing or Grayscale's doing. Look at BlackRock. BlackRock's IBIT, no sells, no inflows, but BlackRock diamond-handed. Their clients, BlackRock on behalf of their clients, the clients. I understand that distinction. But BlackRock, whom I consider the most important figure for looking at Wall Street ETF flows, I think BlackRock's accumulation is more important than net accumulation or net selling. A lot of it has to do with a Grayscale kind of, being converted into BlackRock there. If you look here, Grayscale had $36 million in outflows, but BlackRock to me is the main canary in the coal mine. And so to that is neutral. So I'm not turning bearish just yet. And a canary in a coal mine, you put a canary in a coal mine to make sure the miners don't die from carbon dioxide poisoning. I'm sure most of you know that, but maybe you did, maybe you didn't. So today we're learning a little something there. Psychic analysis. The psychic analysis is you don't have enough Bitcoin. All right. And I'm going to do a analysis on the dollar and why the dollar is failing us, why it's a piece of crap, or how young people are disenfranchised. What is the solution? How there isn't much of a solution. I'm going to get into that in 1 second. Now, we just got 2 quick Bitcoin stories. We're going to go to Big Pay here. Number 1, Strategy has a $100 stable coin, essentially. It's a Bitcoin stock pegged at $100. They call it the Benjamin. Now, they don't call it that. It's to increase their treasury. They increase their treasury to buy more Bitcoin. So Strategy is going to sell a bunch of $100 stable coins to buy more Bitcoin. What the heck is going on? So it's a new type of stock offering, and it's going to, raise additional funds to buy Bitcoin. And the IPO is going to have 5 million of these shares, $100 a piece. You're looking at $500 million, and they call it the perpetual stretch preferred stock. Or, you can get stretch from there. Looks more like Stark, like Tony. But the stretch stock will accumulate cumulative dividends at a variable rate on the stated amount of $100 per share. So this basically this $100 stable coin is going to have yield. The initial yield is going to be 9% annually. Now they're going to play with the yield to make sure that it's on par with the $100. What do they say? So they're going to, that's basically, they're going to adjust the yield to make sure it trades around 100. Here's how they say that in finance terms. They're going to adjust the monthly regular dividend rate per annum in such a manner as Strategy believes is designed to cause the stock to trade at prices or close to its stated amount of $100 per share. AKA, there's a knob on the yield. They're going to do this to the knob, and you're going to be a knob if you buy this instead of Bitcoin. That's my take there. But now there's going to be a safe bet, and 9% yield. A lot of rich investors are going to be into this. Now let's do this story. Then we'll get into Big Pay here. We're going to bring him on stage. I'll even bust out the headphones. Chinese pork producer turned into a Bitcoin miner, and now they're a Dogecoin company. What the heck is going on with these people? Now they're named BitOrigin now. BitOrigin was because they sold pig bits. And so you get an ear, you get a hoof, you get a rib. No, that's not what it came from. But so what the heck is going on here? This is a weird story. So it's a Chinese pork processing company and Bitcoin miner, BitOrigin. BitOrigin. They tell you the origin of the pig part. You're like, oh, that's where this ham hock came from. I was wondering the origin of my ham hock. Now I know where my ham hock came from, and it's all on chain, and I have the NFT. Is what they're going to do next year. But right now, so they officially kicked off their crypto treasury initiative with the acquisition of 40 million Doge. What? And so they got in at 24 cents a coin. They spent about $10 million on its recent Dogecoin acquisition. Now, they're forced. I wasn't going to do this part of the story. I'll tell you, this is kind of a weird. So they were, the Chinese crypto mining firm. They had to vacate a property in Wyoming after an order from the White House. They had a crypto mining facility in Cheyenne, and it was forced to leave because they're too close to a nuclear missile base, not a nuclear power plant, a freaking nuclear missile base. So yeah, probably not the best place for a Chinese mining farm. But so yeah, this gets even a little bit crazier. Dogecoin, of course, launched 2013. Billy Marcus, Jackson Palmer. One of them sold his entire stash at like less than a tenth of a penny as a. Oh man, let's just all take a sip on that. I think it was Bill. I think. Tell me, chat. Which one was it? Was it Billy or was it Palmer? One of them sold their entire existence, sold their entire stash of Dogecoin. I think it was like a tenth of a penny. I just got to take a sip on that one. I'm going to have a sip of my hot bean juice, aka just black coffee here. Oh, yes. And I felt the surge of you hitting the like button, and it gave me the dopamine up my spine, and it shot like electricity traveling down the kite into Benjamin Franklin's hand. Let's see here. So proof of pork belly. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. So someone's saying it was Marcus. Yeah. Sold his entire stash. Very, very painful. We hate seeing that story there. But it's even crazier when you look at the food company Pivot. So BitOrigin launched in 2019. China, Zhangtai Food, and primarily engage in pork processing. They get your ham hocks, including slaughtering, packing, distribution, and wholesale. Now, then in December 21, they purchased 742 first-time new Bitcoin miners as part of a crypto pivot, and then changed their name to BitOrigin. China Zhangtai Food. This is a weird name for a Bitcoin mining company. Now, as of 2025, it doesn't even mention pork processing in its company profile anymore. So that is interesting story there. But yeah, now I think they're one of the largest holders of Doge. Where they have 40 million. And you can see right here, yeah, that puts them in a very, very small cohort here. Yeah, that's 40 million. They're crushing it right here. So why is 28 below? Why is this out of order? So, 1, 5, 8, 10, 25.1, 25.0, 43 back to 28. Oh, because it's different amount of wallet holders. Some speculate, and obviously we don't have any proof of this. There's been a lot of speculation. This wallet, this is a well-known Doge wallet. Speculation, it's Elon. There's people who think that's Elon. I have not done the research myself, so I don't want to, offer any kind of analysis here. But very, very cool if it is that major wallet, the 28 million Doge. So that'd be cool. Who knows? I think it's 7 billion. 7 billion. There's 7 billion. I think it's actually Robinhood. I'm not sure. It might be Robinhood though. It might be worth a deep dive. Maybe I'll do a short there. All right. Now we do have now we remember the story. Then we're going to Big Pay. The 3 little pigs. Did you ever see what happened when they moved the camera? Because, there's the house of straw, there's the house of brick, and then there's the Bitcoin mining facility. I think this was in the children's story tale. So if not, it's going to be the version I tell my future seedlings, mini DZs there. But all right, how to do the grok slop for you there. Let's get into talking to Mr. Cardano is what I like to call him. Big Pay.
Easy.
When you get with the name like your name's Peyton, I'm assuming with the name like Big Pay, I mean, were you just destined to be in the finance ecosystem?
No, I was really fat as a kid, and that was my nickname.
All right. You know what? I was also a chonker, and there was several times I would, if not the shortest, I would be the fattest kid in my class. And this was all the way until like 10th grade.
See, I was like one of the pigs in the children's story.
Okay. I was like, I was the one in the straw.
Facility.
I was in the straw house. I was poor. We grew up in a little trailer that'd blow away with the elephant fart. But let's talk about first, we'll get into Atrium in a second. But first, I want to ask you about Cardano, just generally speaking here. We were all here last cycle. Not all, but, a lot of the disco fam was here last cycle. We saw Cardano go from essentially 2 pennies all the way to above $3. And then, bear market comes. But then the Trump pump. Cardano went 20, 25 cents, all the way up to $1.30, $1.31. And then altcoins, kind of fell off a cliff around February, March. Cardano started dumping. When it fell from $1.30 all the way back down to 50 cents, did you lose a little confidence or faith in maybe where we're going to be heading this cycle?
Not really. I think that it was, I would also call it the Trump dump, because if you remember, that happened right after the Trump coin launched,
Yep.
and it dipped a little bit, and then the next day Melania launched, and we're like, oh,
Yeah.
we're all fucked.
Yeah.
That's what's going on here.
Except for
So no,
Barron. Barron got a bag. Barron had a mom. Instead of like asking mom to watch you jump off the diving board, you're like, mom, fill up my Phantom wallet.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, so I didn't lose any hope. I just, I expected them to honestly lower interest rates a little bit more. But when you have an economy that kind of isn't thriving, people aren't putting money everywhere, it's obvious to me that most of that money is going to flow into Bitcoin, because we still do have, inflation happening. Bitcoin's a good asset, but, people tend to get more risky. When their house prices go up and et cetera. So, I was kind of still just waiting for that moment, and I felt like it had been pushed back a bit, but I was surprised how low it really went. I did kind of buy the bull narrative of like, oh, we're $1.30, it's time to keep going. But they
Are you
teased us.
willing to say where you think we go this cycle? I'm still kind of landing around the 5 to like 690.
That's honestly exactly where I'm at. Right, is
Oh,
is probably 5 to 6, 5 to 7. You never know with things. You never also know when it's going to happen. I know Jerome Powell was supposed to speak today. Did he lower the rates? Have you
so
heard?
that was kind of blown out of proportion. It was the world's most boring thing. It was like annual big bank conference. It was just a random thing. It had nothing to do like, oh,
Mm,
I'm doing a spontaneous press release.
mm.
But let's shift gears a little here. I want to talk to you, real quick while I got you on here. You're launching something called Atrium. We've known each other for years at this point. I definitely wanted to show you some love here. And I saw something about mainnet launch, profile mints. I mean, what the heck? This almost sounds like is this a L2 on ADA? Is this a DeFi ecosystem? Is this going to be, for content similar to like a decentralized YouTube? What is Atrium Lab? Up, wait a minute. Lost you there on the mic? Did we lose him there? Maybe they can hear you. Oh,
You hear me now?
I can hear you now. I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, my monitor shut off for some reason. Sorry about that. So what we're bringing to
That
Cardano,
was ETH boys fudding.
yeah, they're DDoSing me, man. So what we're bringing to Cardano is a social fi ecosystem, and we've split the launch up into three big launches. What we're launching today is the dashboard, the education portal, and then profiles. And you can come into Atrium. Do you want me just to pull it up and show you?
Yeah, we got a quick minute, man. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's
Yeah,
see what we're working with here.
I'll be quick with it. Let me share screen, and then we'll do connect to Atrium. Awesome. So when you get in here, the first thing you see is help. I'm new here. That's the education portal. That's for the millions of new users that are going to be coming to Cardano as we go to $5 or $6, as you mentioned earlier. And then once you log in here, you see a dashboard, and the dashboard shows your assets. It's not a wallet. It really lives on top of the wallets. And what it does is it gamifies Cardano. Right? We have challenges built in here. We have customization built in here. And you go to the community tab here, and then you can pull up Atrium profiles. In Atrium profiles, we can come in here and mint one, and we do have a special code for everybody. We'll do DZ Discover, because I already minted one of these for you private. And then if you guys want to type in, obviously you're watching this through the Discover Crypto podcast. Go ahead and type in referred by DZ here, and he'll get some ADA rewards as incentive.
I did not know you were going to do that. I don't want. Oh, DZ's bringing them on to make 4 ADA per profile or something. I don't know what the thing.
He
is.
doesn't know. He also didn't know I was going to gift the 50 subscriptions. He's a good guy. He's bringing me on here for free. I'm just being nice. But you can type in, okay, your title, your description. You can choose an image here. And then this is actually being generated by a smart contract. It's verifying that no two names can ever be minted once. You can send and receive to these directly in Atrium instead of using the long address. And then we're going to go ahead and type in our spending password here to mint this. And then you get a cool animation. We're trying to make NFTs fun again. So you get a background at random.
See, we lost you at the audio there. When the audio kicked in.
Am I back?
Yeah, now we hear you.
Yeah, it's an unlucky day for audio, but we got this background here at random. We're trying to make NFTs fun again. So now that we have this, what we've done is we've gamified Cardano engagement on chain, on Twitter, and on Discord. And as you level up, you unlock new unique backgrounds. You essentially level up this profile within the season, and then you can actually gather stake on top of these profiles as well, just like an SPO. So as you gather more stake, you get pushed higher up in virality. Atrium is really going to serve as an ecosystem map for all of the builders and all of the projects that are already building on Cardano. And then the more stake that they gather, the more rewards that they get from the platform, and also the more virality they get within platform. Atrium's another way to stay up to date with Cardano without having to log into Twitter and see a bunch of nasty stuff every day.
Well, we need that now since Cardano whale has fallen to the bottom of the ocean for at least a brief period. We hope he comes back for air in a little bit. Those who don't know, probably the biggest voice in Cardano on Twitter/X was a guy named Cardano Whale, and he disappeared a few weeks ago, a month ago or so, and now it's just posted. He's disappointed with I think it was IOG or some of the Cardano foundations. Are you happy or disappointed with the way some of the large orgs have treated the ADA ecosystem?
When it comes to software development, you kind of have to choose what you build next, right? And I think IOG has done a great job delivering on Cardano. And really, their big focus for the past, year and a half has been launching a truly decentralized on-chain governance mechanism. And that doesn't seem exciting in a world where, Solana's taking off and has high throughput. But the Clarity Act that just passed, essentially spells out that blockchains need to be decentralized or they're going to be classified as a security. And, they didn't mention Cardano directly in there, but they're looking at validator nodes. They're looking at who's making the decisions. And to me, Cardano truly stands out, among other blockchains in the Clarity Act, alongside Bitcoin and Ethereum. Whereas with Solana, the jury's really still out on it. So, they made a big bet on decentralization mattering, and I think it will. As far as the other entities, Emergo just got a new CEO. They're trying to turn things around. The Cardano Foundation in the first few years from 2017 to 2021, I really think they didn't deliver at all. Whereas if you look at the past, 2 or 3 years since Frederick Ergaard has come on as CEO, they're doing an immense amount of work that is to the benefit of Cardano, in my opinion. And they've also been quite all right at spending money. I mean, they still have over 500 something million ADA on their balance sheet. They're transparent about what they have, and they were given, a little over 600 million to start. So, I think that they are investing in the ecosystem now. They're investing in builders, and, they're doing things that aren't as, sexy or as attractive, but they've really kind of turned it around. And, I hope to see the same thing from Emergo now that they have a new CEO.
Yeah, and we recently saw Charles Hoskin during the Trump White House signing ceremony. He said other founders were jockeying to get in that room during the signing ceremony because there was cameras. Meanwhile, he was in a Senate addendum building working on the actual legalese and language on these upcoming crypto acts. So it's like you could jockey to be in the photo op, or you could be in the back room with the staffers writing out the very nerdy language. Two different strategies. I think long term, I know which one I'm betting on. So, dude, big pay. I really appreciate you coming on, man. It was you took a little time out of your day here. Go check out Atrium. I think we could throw it up one more time here. Also, you go follow them on X. They're gonna say one more time. Type in, was it referred? I don't want to cut you off.
At DZ.
At DZ. All right, there you go, folks. There you go. All right, well, big pay. Always a great time, man. Talking to you. I'm not sure if I'll make it to Rare Evo. I got a honeymoon. I don't know if I want to travel that much, but if I do, we're definitely getting up. All right.
Yeah, I hope to see you there. Atrium.io, discord.gg/Atrium. And thank you as always, DZ. I appreciate you, man. You're doing a good job.
Hey, man, I appreciate it. All right. Good guy there. Good guy. I know you guys get tired of me talking about Cardano, so we'll switch gears here. And I do want to give a big shout out to L Bank. They have a new reward right now. Supercharge your margin growth. Magical boost. Deposit is going to be boosted to 150%. This event ends in 5 days and 19 hours. We do have a link down below for L Bank if you want to get your trades in. And I did open a couple trades this morning. I opened a Doge long and a V chain long. This is the Doge long. Looks like we got in on a pretty good entry point. I saw a liquidity sweep as I was going live. I was like, all right, I could jump in, and I think we have a little bit more at 25.8. So if we end up coming back down, I will add to my entry. But at this point, I might just ride what we have on there. And we're also on a V chain long as well. And again, a similar situation, saw some liquidity sweeps, and I think I have one extra order coming in a little bit lower. V-Chain, another order at 26.5. And so if we dip here, I would add to the long because this, but again, we're pumping so hard, we might not revisit those. So go check out that boost down below. Now it is time for me to give you a little bit of an analysis on where I think the dollar is going. 11:14 here. So, Isaac, maybe clip this here because I'm pissed off. I'm pissed off at seeing a difference in stories here. So we're hearing conflicting stories on the state of the economy, the state of the dollar. We can look at the DXY and see that the dollar is clearly losing value. We can look at the value of Bitcoin and see it's clearly gaining value. There is a correlation there, if you will, folks. So let's get into the competing narratives that we're seeing right now. So Polymarket. This is the one end of the coin. Then we're going straight to the other. Polymarket says the odds of a recession have dropped to their lowest level ever since this platform is open and had this bet. So late April, there is a 70% chance we were going to have a recession. This is the midst of the tariff war. Oh my God, the economy is cooked. We're doomed. Today, it has now fallen to 19%. So we went from a 70% chance of recession to a 19% chance of recession here. So everyone's bullish. Well, what does the data say? The data is not so friendly here. So I got a couple things. We're got housing, and then we're going to look at we're going to look at stocks. So we're going to look at housing and stocks here. The dollar is cooked, everybody. Housing defaults have just hit their highest levels since 2011. If you know anything about the real estate, you know some bad things happen around 2011, 2012 to the mortgage rate, to the home sellers here. Next, we look at housing market unaffordability level. It is now the most unaffordable to literally exist as a human being in history. We have never seen housing this unaffordable. Rent is up. Mortgage rates are up. Home prices are up. Everything is up. In fact, if you want a cardboard box on Skid Row, you got to fight for it or give some fentanyl to the other guy with the switchblade. So the housing market is a very, very unaffordable level. So housing just cooked. Now let's go to the NASDAQ. NASDAQ 100, the 100 largest companies, excluding financials, have now gone 61 consecutive days without closing below the 20-day moving average. This is a bullish uptrend. But what I don't like is that this is the longest streak since 1999. We go straight to the Dow Jones and we throw up the 20-day moving average. It's the 20-day moving average. This orange line right here. And they're saying close, so we can wick into it. This was the longest streak in history. Look at that. It lasted essentially 168 days. What followed? Severe correction. So the stock market then had a huge dump. And so we are matching this level right here. Good Lord, that thing just kept falling off a cliff. Now for stocks, this is very, very monumental. NASDAQ index fell 82%. Huge crash in the markets. That was the 99.com boom. And then as we started to climb out of it, something happened September 01. So then boom, we kept falling further. It was a hellacious time in the markets. Here's what Kobayashi letter is saying here. Bitcoin trading above $120,000 for the first time in history. Gold prices surging 3% away from a record high. ETH set to cross above 4,000 first time since 2024. Ripple trading all-time highs above 350 first time ever. 10-year note yield set to break above 4.5 even as Trump calls for rate cuts. AKA other countries do not want to buy our debt because they think 4.5 is unsustainable or they're going to lose money. Also, silver prices trading at their highest level since 2011. The deficit spending crisis is much worse than you think. The value of your dollar is much worse than you think. The direction it is heading is much worse than you think. People aren't having kids. People can't afford homes. People can't afford cars. Bitcoin is the only exit strategy. Bitcoin is going to be your life raft. I was looking at the data 30 years ago. 60% of people under the age of 35 had at least one kid. Today, it is in the 20s. They can't afford to start a family. They can't afford to start a home. The economy is collapsing right in front of our eyes. And I'm trying to scream from the mountaintops to buy Bitcoin, to buy these altcoins and change your life, change your future generations, change the direction of your portfolio and just your ability, have an ability to retire. But people are still refusing to see through the trees. They can't see the forest through the trees. And so I'm seeing a lot of people, nothing bad's going to happen. be careful because the economy can turn on a dime. No one knows what the heck they're doing. And the boomers have failed us, is what some are saying. But how about this? Speaking of boomers, you are the new boomers. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You don't have to give up. You don't have to throw your hands up. You don't have to empty your pockets and say, I don't have an escape raft. I'm giving you the escape raft here. This is hard for most people to believe, but Bitcoin is likely to be the main store of value on planet Earth in 20 years. It will have a market cap of around $10 million per coin. I'm like 2050, so that's like 25 years. It will be worth $200 trillion, more than 5 times the current market cap of gold. It'll be worth around 50%. No, that'll be at the time. It'll be 50% of the global money supply, or 400 trillion. No individual currency will be worth as much. It will be worth more than any country's stock market or bond market. Now, the boomers, you are already hated by millennials. Why? Because you bought a cheap house. You got a house in 1972 for 13 raspberries. Congratulations, Bob. You got a house and now it's worth $1.3 million. But this will be nothing compared to the hate of the Gen Z to the millennials who bought cheap Bitcoin. You can still buy cheap Bitcoin. Now, is there going to be a short-term correction? Yeah, probably. But we're going to $1 million a coin. We're going to $10 million a coin. And we might even see $250,000 a coin within the next 12 months. And so that's just my thesis to you. You don't have to give up. There is a way, and we're trying to teach you every day on this channel. All I ask is just maybe subscribe and hit that like button. If you like what I'm saying there, just smash the like button, everybody. And that what would be a sign of this? Well, that would mean that the Federal Reserve is failing us. Well, what does Scott Bessent say today in an interview? He called for a review of the Federal Reserve. Everybody's talking about spending over $1 billion on 2 buildings, some building renovations, not new buildings, refurbishing and restructuring and renovating old buildings. While I have no knowledge or opinion on the legal basis for the massive building renovations being undertaken, a review to undertake such a project by an institution reporting operating losses of more than $100 billion per year should be conducted. So if you're losing $100 billion per year, maybe you should, slow down on billion-dollar renovations. Now, critics are saying like, oh, Cowboys Stadium was built for $1.4 billion, and the Fed wants like $2 or $4 billion to renovate 2 buildings. This doesn't make sense. It really doesn't make sense. But I will say the cost of construction in rural Texas is going to be a lot cheaper than construction in proper DC. And also there's asbestos and lead. And so that's just going to be a lot more costly. But still, yeah, I mean, the Fed is failing. Our Treasury Secretary is, even criticizing the Fed himself. It's not looking good long term, folks. Let's see here. All right. So how did the Fed lose? I guess that's their operating expenses. Some departments do pull in revenue. Post office, IRS, again, military on some aspects there. But yeah, most are going to be spending money. I'd have to see it compared to other, like, what does HOA spend a year? But $100 billion does seem like a lot. Who can have or own hundreds of Bitcoin now? The elite, that's all. Big money always takes what works. What works is Bitcoin here. To be honest, it would also mean Micro and BlackRock would run the world essentially. Almost as if BlackRock is a lot more powerful than people want to put on there. Now, I was talking to Big Pay about this. Charles working with senators, staffers, and I'm not sure what the NIST stands for, on the Clarity Act. This is 5 minutes. Obviously not going to play it. We talk about Cardano probably enough here, but yeah, essentially saying while they're fighting to like get in the photo op opportunity, he was at the Senate Rodendum, I think is the words that he used. It was like, yeah, I was in the Senate Rodendum with a bunch of staffers as we were hammering out the legislative language used for the bills that we're seeing today. And so if I had a founder, it's like, all right, do you want your founder jockeying for position in a photo op? Or do you want your founder to be crafting legislation in the back room with the smart people? I choose option B. I choose the latter there. All right, now let's talk about ETH for a second here, the world's second largest crypto out there. Let's see here. They have to renovate the gold bars at Fort Knox. The gold's gone, is what it seems like. I have no proof. I'm not in there. I do know we're hearing a lot about, audit is coming over. We're going to roll in. We're going to bust out our iPhone. We're gonna take pictures, man. There's the gold. No, that never happened. Why did it not happen? It probably didn't happen because it's not there. Now, conspiracy theorists are gonna say, yeah, it got all shipped out to City of London, which is like a square 1 mile, or it got shipped out to the Vatican, or got shipped out to the powerful families. No one knows. I just know if it was at Fort Knox, you would invite a TV news anchor. You'd invite Elon Musk. You'd invite somebody and say, hey, there's the gold. Don't worry. KJM saying, yeah, it moved. Yeah, City of London. Yeah, that's what a lot of people say. The Charles Hoskin 6-hour interview, I'm like 3 or 4 in. I don't even know if I'm gonna finish at this point. It's like, God, I've been listening to this for 17 days. It's been 84 years and I'm still listening. Let's talk about ETH here. So the MicroStrategy of ETH says no to Bitcoin. Okay, now I can actually play the video. It's only 8 seconds here. So let me, I got to add it to the stage. So we're going to stop presenting here. I gotta make sure I don't like disappear from the screen by hitting the wrong button here. All right, so boom, add. We got it, folks. All right, here we go. 8 seconds.
Do you own Bitcoin?
I'm not. I do not own Bitcoin.
None.
I'd rather have an iPhone than a landline.
He just said
you
Bitcoin
own
is a
Bitcoin?
landline,
I'm
and
not,
he'd rather have an iPhone. That is bold strategy, Cotton. We'll see how it pays off. I've kind of talked about that in the past. It reminds me of the narrative of I always like to do cars. I don't think Bitcoin is the Model T. That'd be a little too harsh there. But Bitcoin is like it's a 98 Corolla. It does it's reliable, man. It'll get you there, and at the end of the day, it's the safest thing you want. But there are shinier, flashier vehicles that, or it's like an 80s Honda, right? Or like 93 Accord, right? It's a 98 Camry. It's a 93 Accord. It's safe, it's reliable, it's the first mover, it's going to get you to where you got to get going, and you don't have to worry about downtime, you don't have to worry about it breaking down. Some of the other ones, they're shinier, they're flashier, but like Solana's like a Fiat, right? It's going to break down 11 times in a year. So that's I always like to do the car analogy there. All right, let's back to the ETH treasury here. The new ETH treasury, the Ether Machine public Ether generation company here. There's it's like the MicroStrategy of ETH. They announced 1.5 billion in ETH this morning. It'd be the biggest one yet. So that's why they're like the MicroStrategy. They've shot up to number 1. But then last week, Fundstrat said he was going to buy 20 billion in ETH. So he's going to beat that 1.5 eventually. And then Joseph Lubin, Ethereum co-founder, Consensus founded MetaMask. So the guy behind MetaMask, he said he's in for at least 5 billion. So he said you're 1.5. You're going to be in 3rd place here. I have no idea who will end up as the biggest, but I do know this. There is not enough ETH to go around. So very, very big bags. And as a distinction, half of this is going to be coming from someone's own ETH stash. So not as much buying pressure as you might think with, say, MicroStrategy. Now, speaking of ETH, Kathy Wood is buying more ETH treasury companies, and she is selling her Robinhood and her Coinbase stock. And now I'm wondering, should I start taking more profit on Hood? We took profit on Hood, maybe a little too early, but we did put it into Palantir, and we're able to ride Palantir up, but Hood may be a pump more since the Clarity Act and all that other stuff. But she sold Coinbase and her Roblox shares for Tom Lee's ETH firm. And so they're sold 218,000 shares worth 90 million of coin and almost 500,000 of Roblox shares worth 57 million. Then she bought 4.4 million shares of Tom Lee's treasury firm, Bitmine Immersion Technologies. Now, this isn't the former pork producer, not the former, or around 174 million, which comprises 1.5 of each stock right there. So that's what you're looking at. I was like, wait a minute, is it the pork guy? All right, so we have the, let's see here. So we got the funds, ARK Fund, still heavy on Tesla, 10%, and Coinbase and Roblox still 2nd and 3rd. So still have Coinbase, still have Roblox, but has more Tesla. This fund, ARKW, still has Hood and Coin and Tesla as top 3, but also has Meta, Shopify, Amazon. And then her last one has Shopify, Hood, and Coinbase as top 3, but she also has Circle, Block, eToro, and PayPal. So she's not like dumping everything for ETH, but she's reallocating into ETH being a higher percentage of her strategy. Now let's talk about XRP price predictions here, baby. Johnny, at the same time, did XRP pass Tether? I'm not sure. Doge, we talked about Doge in the beginning, so make sure you go watch that. Let's see here. Let's hit refresh. If it'll let me, there we go. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Then some. Then some. Yeah, it's been passed. Yeah, look at that. Wait a minute. This stable coin is pumped 0%. What? No, yeah, look at that XRP 30-day pump, 80%. So yeah, it is passed with that 80% surge. Undoubtedly there, undoubtedly, indubitably. Now there's XRP bull flag pennant. All right, we're going to look at that in a second. But not only do we have the bull flag pennant, we also have the symmetrical triangle. Now, I'm not a fan of this measuring strategy. There's kind of two ways you can do it. You can do it from first entry to first touch to second touch when you're looking at the top and the bottom. I like doing when you have both sides touch, you go straight line down. It gives you a little bit more conservative, but to me, a higher accuracy for price models there. So we're going to do that on XRP. And then the other one, yeah, we have the bull flag pennant, which is also just insanely bullish. You don't even have to use a log chart to get a bullish price prediction here. So this is on the weekly. Let's go to the 3-day, get a little bit cleaner here. All right, we're going to draw out our semi-symmetrical triangle. I mean, what are they doing for their second one? For the bottom, okay, they're basically kind of doing the pause and the little wicks right there on the daily. These are daily candles. Yeah, 1-day candles. So we need to go to 1 day so we can grab these wicks. Yep, grab the wick right there. Actually already did it. And it looks like it was actually grabbing these wicks right there. But we'll just run it. Yeah, I mean, I already don't like his triangle here. But we'll play it out. We'll play it out. We still got room to go. $4. Oh, man, 420? 420 as the prophecy foretold. Now, we also have the bull flag pennant. Let me grab this, turn it into the pole. And this one's going to be a little bit more bullish. And that gives us a $5 target, $5.10. So we still got very, very strong targets for XRP. And that is a very clean weekly chart there. So don't sleep on the XRP. Okay, that's what I think it was actually there. So it was actually a little bit more bullish than the 420. So yeah, maybe like 425. All right, now we also have insane Solana predictions here. Solana's not going to $6,000 this cycle. Don't listen to people that talk about 6,000. And they're talking about the freaking cup and handle. We've covered the cup and handle repeatedly. And what people keep doing is they keep putting it on a log chart. And when you go to a log chart and you look at the cup and handle, yeah, man, I mean, $6,000, baby. Woo! They're doing it. I mean, you can do it from the breakout. Yeah, man, $6,000 Solana. There you go. 5,900, 61.6. Don't do that. Don't do that. We're going to delete this. We're going to go from a logarithmic chart to a regular chart. Logarithmic is like every unit of 10 is going to be equal to the next unit of 10. So like 1 to 10 is equal to 11 to 100. All right, now we get a little more conservative target. Our conservative, quote unquote, conservative Solana target is going to be, I've seen people measure these two different ways. One, they do breakout from the handle, which is fair. And also people do breakout from the cup line. We'll do both. Breakout from the handle gives you a $410 Solana. Breakout from the cup line gives you $513 Solana. So look at like 410 or 510. I think Solana can go to $500 this cycle. We got a $5 super chat here. In terms of altcoin dips, should the Disco fam roll Bitcoin into them or keep it as Bitcoin, please, to make the most profits if no more dry powder and win? I mean, the time to roll your Bitcoin into alts was a week ago. And I feel like that's, going to be something we say commonly here. I would not full port the entire Bitcoin stash. You need to keep Bitcoin as a high percentage of your portfolio. But I certainly am a fan of rolling some Bitcoin into, I think, Doge. Doge is good. This is the Doge Bitcoin trading pair that we're looking at right here. Look at Doge priced in Bitcoin. Sure, it bleeds every cycle, but it also pumps every cycle. And it's like, should you sell your Bitcoin for Doge right here? I mean, probably. We might come back down, retest this trend line. So that's why I would only recommend a small amount. But yeah, I can see this turning real bullish here. Even if you keep somewhat of a trend line going, which actually hits the candle bodies, doesn't it? Okay, it's kind of good. There we go. I mean, I like taking, roll it into Bitcoin or roll it into Doge from there. But it's like, God, you're telling people to sell Bitcoin for Doge. It just doesn't seem smart. Other charts look similar. Sol BTC might be at a good point here. Yeah, this is, man, oh man. It's like sometimes we draw these lines and they turn into something here. Solana's definitely going to 20,000 Satoshis and a non-zero chance it goes to 30,000 Satoshis. The Trump pump took it to 28,000, so not quite 30. So at least 20,000. So right now, but it's not much of a gain to be had there. So Solana, I'm not the biggest. I mean, what, you're trying to do this for a 22% gain there? Probably not what you want to do. And then last one we'll do, I like AVAX. I think AVAX is pretty good, especially when you look at AVAX ETH. I don't know if I'd have to do AVAX USD / ETH USD. It's going to give us this. Yeah, this is good entry. So I love AVAX. AVAX is going to start pumping as ETH consolidates. So as ETH rallies, probably going to be hard to get some green candles on this AVAX priced in Ethereum, but I can see that doing very, very well. All right. What are your thoughts on Supra and the Supra Army? Are they like XRP, fully committed to the project? No. I'll probably do well as altcoins pump, but it'll probably dump a lot to Bitcoin, like all altcoins in that ecosphere tend to do. Looking at the all-time chart, it's not what I like to see. I mean, they're getting more tokens and they're selling on you. So there's that, but it's also a $70 million market cap. So that's also a very, very small one there. Do ADA BTC, please. All right. But people are like, you talk about Cardano too much, so I don't want to piss those people off here. We do like to... Oh, I'm throwing the slash on. Sorry. Cardano Bitcoin. Binance has a great pair. We just did a video on this, so go check that out. Similar to Doge, there's going to be a downward, there's going to be a little area of resistance. So I love it until then, and then start diversifying back into Bitcoin there. All right, I had a stack of 1,000-ounce silver bars. Thought I was going to break through my floor. Ooh, type in your address. No, don't do that. Don't do that. All right, now let's, we did Solana, cup and handle. Let's talk about altcoins here. Altcoins is clearly the new Google trend to look at. Looking at Google Trends and trying to look at Bitcoin just doesn't cut it anymore. It's never going to cut it, and it's never going to reach those levels in 2017. But what about altcoins? Altcoins, the data gets interesting as you zoom in. So when we go to 90 days, okay, altcoins are crushing it right now. But when you go to a year, all right, well, what about the Trump pump? Well above where we were with the Trump pump. And you can see it right there. So they don't have, as you go into a larger time frame, they don't have the most recent data, the most recent history. Let's go to 5 years. So now we see the 2021 cycle. Now, what's interesting is when you see it on the 5-year chart, you see it well exceeding May 2021. If I can get to it, May 2021 hit 43. Right now we're at 100. So over the past 5 years, it is 2x what we saw in May 2021. But what about 2017? This is where it gets interesting, and you got to think here. You got to use your mind. You don't see the spike when you go to all-time high. So give it a week, give it a month. I don't know how this measures. I don't know how often they update the data points on the large time frames. But this is going to spike 2x, a little bit more. It's going to do 2x what it did in May 2021. So remember, small time frame, we're already past this. But we don't see it on this time frame because it's too recent of a data point. We don't have enough history at this level. And so this is about to exceed 2x this. This is at 61. That means we get a new 100. And so altcoins are at an all-time high. You don't see it on this chart, but once you start analyzing the data, you can see, oh, clearly alt season is here. Retail is Googling it. Very, very bullish. But now let's do what I said in the freaking title here. I almost dropped a real F-bomb there. What the heck am I buying here? So we're going to get into that. Let's see here. He missed it. Do I have a super chat that I missed here? I can find it. All right, American Pool Guy. I have some gold, silver, and crypto balance allocations. All. So tempted to sell silver for more Bitcoin, Link, and Arrow, but so nice to have metal advice. So I do like selling silver for Chainlink. It's not that I'm bearish on silver. I am more bullish on Chainlink. So we go to silver. Yeah, that looks like you're selling into the pump. You're selling into the pump. Will we get a new all-time high? Probably. We probably. But you know, I don't see really doing beyond like a 100% pump. I don't even know if it can. Probably can, but I think psychological level, people are going to look at the history. Hold on. God dang it. I got to go to the month. I got to go to the month because there's so much data on this. That's the first manipulation. Lehman Brothers. I did a video on it in the past. So obviously there's going to be a lot of profit taken around this $50 level. So, I mean, you could hold it till then, but that's only going to be a 20% pump. And then I think it ranges for a while. Then maybe does a new all-time high similar to gold. But I think Chainlink is going to smoke this on the charts here. I think Link, since you said Link, I would say go into Chainlink. I would say don't sell your entire bag. But yeah, I would rather be in Chainlink. I'm looking at this monthly chart and this thing's looking ready to freaking send, baby. It's looking ready to send. So there you go. There you go. I hope that helps. Love silver. I just love Chainlink a little bit more. You're good. Don't worry about derailing the rant. Sometimes, you know, I want to make sure we listen to you folks here. That's why we also do the member streams on Friday. You can ask all your questions. You can ask me about freaking, you know, did I watch the latest Nelk video, or, you know, thoughts on buying a lotto ticket, or, you know, did we land on the moon? Any of those things there. I think we went, right? Be like Zelda. Link is your hero. I am unironically listening to Ocarina of Time soundtrack, and oh yeah, I don't know if you can see it. The second one, let me cover my face. You can kind of see it. I'm trying to cover. Anyway, that one is Ocarina of Time. I'm literally listening to Ocarina of Time so much that it's the top of my feed. So yeah, man, shout out to everybody who played Ocarina of Time. It was N64. Maybe the best video game soundtrack of all time. All right, now let's get into what altcoins is DZ buying. Now, first thing I want to look at is SNEC. I'm doing a SNEC giveaway on X. If you're not following me, make sure you follow me here. And this is only going to go to my subs. I only got 15 of you guys here. I think I charged $5 or something. I'll try to send out little Cardano runners and stuff. So if you sub to me and you have a Cardano wallet, post your address. I'm going to send out some snake, everybody. I'll take 100. Crypto Glassworks, that's for 100. He's just shooting high, man. He's shooting a shot. Some of these like $5, $10, $15 things I've dropped off have done like 7Xs, you know? So it's like, next thing you know, you're looking at your wallet, DZ gave you a $50 bill. So, you know, maybe I'll only do like, you know, 100 snack or $5. I don't know what I'll do. But snack is one of the 2 coins I've been buying recently. Coins I've actually been selling Cardano for. Snake does the same thing every time. It kind of breaks resistance and it goes to a new all-time high. And that's what it did the first time. This is 2023. Broke out, boom, new all-time high. All right. So then it did it again. Boom, new all-time high. We got to shrink this y-axis. It's so freaking bullish. Guess what, folks? It just did it again. Now, is this pump going to look like this pump? Probably not. You're not going to get a 20x or whatever the heck this was. This is a 10x, 9.1x. So you're not going to get the 10x, probably. I think it actually was. What was this? That's a 40x. Yeah, you're not going to get these huge, insane gains. But I do think this is going to outpump ADA. And, you know, I definitely think it's getting new all-time highs. Keep an eye out on that one. Next one I want to look at is VeChain. And I threw all this alpha. I do a more detailed analysis on this VeChain video here. It's kind of talking about, you know, Dana White going all in. Dana White says he doesn't even hold Bitcoin. He only holds VeChain. I would not agree with that strategy, but VeChain is poised to make a major move. Does the same thing. This is, we'll go to the 3-day chart here. It consolidates and then it breaks through, and it does it almost every single time. This is 2024. This is 2023. Did it again here, 2022. 2021. You're just seeing it happen again and again. Now we're in 2019. So VeChain looks really, really good, especially like on the large time frames there. To me, that's bullish. To me, that's bullish. Maybe it revisits below the purple line. That's not how it has behaved in its past. So those are the two altcoins I've been actively buying lately. VeChain did just upgrade. You can pay for transactions with any token. So I do know you don't need VeChain for your gas. You can also do VThor for your gas. But now it looks like you could do any token as long as it's supported by the wallets there. So I don't even know what Better is. I think that's their predictions market on VeChain. So that's pretty cool. So VeChain is kind of upgrading there. So there we go, folks. That's the show for today. We went a little bit long. SWE price prediction. We got another, I want to say we have a psychological level of $10. We've kind of talked about that in the past here. Let's go to the weekly. We do have technical target. This right here. We have done the breakout. It's going to be $7.50. I do think it has a shot at hitting $10. But yeah, VeChain, I hate buying in this type of range. I would rather, I don't know if it's going to. Oh, it did. It did. I was going to say retest the yellow line. It looks like it did. You had your opportunity 4 days ago and you freaking squandered it. No, I mean, you can buy it now. Are you going to be that upset if, oh, I could have got in at 370 and I paid 392 instead? Probably not. So I like a $7.50 SWE there. So that should there you go. DZ moonlighting as a mortician. 6 Feet Under is one of the most underrated shows of all time. Is one of the first HBO hour-long dramas. Came out around the same time as Sopranos and Oz. I think it predates Sopranos. It predates The Wire. It's a really, really good. Check on your open trades. Oh my God, I didn't close them. Okay, we're still good. We're still good. 45% profit on Doge and 35% profit on VeChain. And we had extra orders coming in below. Just didn't fill. Because sometimes, I'm doing the show. I want to eat lunch. I don't want to just be glued to the charts. I like to take a little break every now and then. So, we just kind of look at some liquidity levels, pick up some sweeps. But I might go ahead and just close that and just enjoy a little steak lunch I got from that. All right, L Bank link down below. That's all we got. I appreciate everyone hanging out. Epic show. No, epic audience. Thank you, Disco fam. It is you. It is you. I'm trying to get like you. That's all I got. Go away.
We just wanted to take a quick second to shout out our sponsor, Arculus. They are a cold storage hardware wallet, helps you secure all of your digital assets for the future. Just tap this thing to the back of your phone and boom, you're in. We wouldn't be able to do this without them, but also wouldn't be able to do this without you guys, the Disco fam. You've supported us a lot over the years. If you want to support the channel now, just use the code DC20. It gets you 20% off this card. It's the #1 way you can support this channel going forward. Thank you for your support. We'll see you at the top.